Hello, folks. It's the Gibby here. Yeah, the real Gibby. Hi. Anyway, I've been away for a minute from the YouTube scene, living life, living the dream, working a new job, loving it sometimes. Anyway, I watch a lot of YouTube, as one might suspect, and I recently was watching some Cinema Snob. And Brad was going on about a time when he was at his lowest point and found himself in the hospital with a suicide attempt. And I thought I might want to make a video of my story in that regard as well. So, here we go. Forget what year it was. I was about maybe 6 years ago, going through some real rough times. The job was not looking good. I was working at McDonald's. Me and my girlfriend had just broken up. I lived with her for about 5 years. And she ended up leaving me for my roommate and best friend at the time, or one of my best friends. And I was down. This has happened about a week earlier. I wasn't feeling happy, so I'll go over to my friend's house, different friend. And he's like, "Oh, it's cool. Here, take this." And he hands me a pill. And I'm thinking, I was told it was Vicodin, painkiller. Why not? I take pill. It turns out it was not Vicodin, but Valium. And I do not handle benzodiazepines well at all. So, I ended up walking home at about, I kind of want to say it was 10 o'clock at night. And I'm just done. Like, completely done with everyone. And I didn't know what else to do. So, I grab a razor blade and just start freaking cutting like there's no tomorrow. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Nothing deep enough to actually kill me because I'm freaking stupid. But I tried. Didn't go well. So I'm bleeding quite profusely from my arm. Once again, probably not enough to kill me, but I'm bleeding quite profusely. And completely out of my mind. So I walk down my stairs to the apartment below me where my ex and her new boyfriend are living. And I pound on the door, and I challenge him to a fight. This being a guy who's much bigger than me, A, and B, had been my friend for quite a number of years. And he proceeded to pound me roundly. I deserved that. I needed that. Had I won that fight, things go completely bad for the Gibby. Yeah. But, anyway. I end up freaking laying on the ground, finger dislocated, unsure of what to do. So, I call my other friend. Now, he does not get along with anybody else in this house, and would probably, had he walked in a different circumstance, probably would have been assaulted. But, in this case, he walked in, picked me up off the floor, and took me to his house. Which I was appreciative for, and didn't start any crap. So, I end up at his house, I bandage up my arm, and they're like, "Well, what do you want to do now? We think you should go to the hospital." I say, "Fine, I'll go to the hospital." So, I get to the hospital, and there are no beds at our local hospital. At all. So, then it's into an ambulance to go about 100 miles away to the nearest psychiatric facility. Beautiful place, though. I'm so glad they sent me there. Because They served the best food, but I'll get to that in a moment. Anyway, so I'm going to the hospital, and I'm just shooting the shit with the ambulance driver because that's what I do whenever I'm in pain. Is I try to make other people laugh because that makes me feel better. So I'm making the ambulance driver laugh pretty hard, and everything is, hunky dory. And then I get to the hospital, and they put me in a very small room for observation, alone. And they took away my shoes, they took away my shirts. I had to put on their shirt, had to put on their pants. And for about an hour and a half, I'm sitting in this just dark room. And it not probably the best thing you want to do with somebody who's, not in the most stable mind frame. But they let me out finally when they determined that I wasn't a danger to myself and or others at that particular moment. And they escort me to my room. Cute little room. I'm by myself, luckily. In a 2-bedroom room, I still managed to be by myself. And I get some sleep, and that's day 1. Now, this is a Friday that I decided to do this, because my mental breakdowns always happen on Friday. I don't get it. Hate it, because it turns out when you go in on a Friday, nobody's there to let you out until Monday. So you're there, and you're stuck for the weekend. Have fun. And so the next day, wake up, and there is a beautiful breakfast. Oh my goodness, the food in this place was beautiful. We're talking a little piece of chicken with, gravy drizzled on it like you were at a 5-star restaurant with a little lotus flower sitting on the plate for garnish. The presentation was outstanding, and the food was stellar. Every meal, I would grab all of the little tickets and say, excellent, 10 out of 10, did a great job, and just write a little note on there saying how thankful I was that somebody out there cared enough about the mental ward to go that extra mile and make that food extra good. So, day 1, I was not given any bandages because apparently I might hang myself with the bandages. So, I grab a cup, styrofoam cup, cut it in half, and place it across my arm here, so that way, in my head at least, people stop staring at it. Nobody does anymore, but I still feel it. In the back of my head, I feel it. And the tanner I get, the more obvious it becomes. Anyway, there were some pretty cool characters there. Some random old guy that said that I shone brightly and was too bright to be shining in that place, which I felt good about, but didn't change the fact that I was still there. A lot of watching Pokemon. There was a lot of cartoons on the TV. I kind of enjoyed that. Watched some Pokemon, caught up on that, some Beyblade, and other ridiculous crap. Turns out the place was more of a drug rehab facility than a mental health unit. But that seems to be the trend with most emergency psychiatric facilities, is they tend to cater more towards drug abuse than mental health. Anyway, I'm locked in there for approximately 4 days. And it was rough. It was real rough. That kind of depression is just, it hurts. It hurts all over. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you can't imagine any way it's going to get better. Every scenario in your head just, you feel like it's just going to get worse. And it's just going to get worse. And you just, I can't fucking take it. And so, anyway, I managed to get through that and get out of the hospital, and I'm doing well for maybe a year. Then I get down again. Really bad depression, like really bad. And I decide I want to take all of the pills that I have sitting in a bottle. And this time at least I called suicide prevention. By the way, suicide prevention may not be the most well thought out system in the world. I'm not going to tell anybody by any means not to call suicide prevention. Just be prepared for the ramifications of calling suicide prevention if you are going to. Because I sat and I talked with the guy behind the phone, and he talked to me for about half an hour, 45 minutes, determined I was okay and I wasn't going to do anything stupid. I had put the pills away, decided I wasn't going to do that, and went about my day. Approximately a week later, I want to say, I get a knock on my door. And it's the police. Now, at this time, I'm kind of couch surfing. I no longer have really a place to live. I'm homeless. Working at McDonald's, trying to, if it weren't for McDonald's, I probably wouldn't have been eating. Because I ate when I was there. But, look at me. I don't eat much. And, cops knock on the door. And the reason why I preface where I'm living is because I was also living with a drug dealer at that particular time who did not appreciate me being the reason why cops showed up at the door. Because they were looking for me. Because apparently when you call suicide prevention, the police show up a week later to make sure you're not dead. Which, real Johnny on the spot for them. But like, well, we're here because you called suicide prevention. I'm like, obviously I'm not dead. So, I'm not dead. Well, are you going to do this in the future? This is the mistake. This is where I, the Gibby, fucked up. Because the answer you give when somebody asks you that question is, no, of course not. Why would I do that? I had a moment of weakness. The answer I gave was, I don't know, I can't see the future. Mistake. So, having said those words and let those words leave my mouth, I am told that I now have to go to the hospital because they cannot legally ignore what I have said. Like, well, piss. Alright. Well, can I at least, get my clothes changed and have a cigarette first? And the cops, bless their hearts, were nice enough to stand for about 10 minutes while I change into some pajamas, because I know they're going to take my clothes, but I know I'm allowed to have pajamas. So, I change into some pajamas, I smoke a cigarette, because I know they're not going to let me smoke once I get to the hospital. And I walk up to the police car, and they put me in handcuffs, which, first time I've ever been in handcuffs in the back of a police car. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket, or a parking ticket for that matter. Like, I am pretty not involved with the law. So, this was a new experience for me. I got to add this to my wall of things Gibby has done. And they put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of the police car, and I start talking with the cop, because that's what I do whenever I'm in a stressful situation. I talk and I make jokes. And it turns out he was he used to work on computers for the banks in town. And he decided he wanted to be a cop because it was more fun. Which I can respect. Like, I want a guy, like, if I were going to have cops, I want them to enjoy their job. So, he takes me to the hospital, and I get there, and I'm just, like, annoyed with this whole situation, because turns out being checked into the hospital costs a lot of like a lot, and I had no choice in this matter. Hey, free vacation. I didn't even get to, like, I called my work and told them, hey, I'm not gonna be there for about a weekend. I'm in the back of a police vehicle being checked into the second floor. This came as a surprise to nobody. Anyway, get to the hospital, and once again, drug rehab. But I'm a lot better on my feet at this point, because once again, I had a week to cool off this time. And I get there, the food's not nearly as good, and I'm kind of I'm not stuck with anybody else. I'm in the actual hospital side because they didn't have enough beds in the mental side. So I'm in the hospital side, but I got my own TV, which was kind of cool. And just basically loafed around and talked to a couple nurses and had them print off some stats about the speed of light for me, which was about 10 pages of wiki. And just started doing math equations on a whiteboard because I like the movie A Beautiful Mind. And I have this weird fascination with the speed of light and force and mass. And I feel like there's got to be a moment there, which my friend has ruinedly called the cheeseburger, where the amount of time it takes for light to accelerate to the speed of light. And I, every once in a while when I'm bored, just like to play with equations and see what I can find there. And I started doing that all over the whiteboard, and everybody just kind of looked at me like, oh, so he's that kind of crazy. Which is good, because that's the, they were kind of cute nurses, and I didn't want them to think I was checked into the mental ward because I was completely bad, so I'd rather seem like a crazed genius. So, the best thing to come out of all of this was when I got out of the hospital, my grandparents were there to pick me up. I hadn't talked to my grandparents in roughly 3 or 4 years. And, they came and said, hey, you can come live with us. You don't have to keep couch surfing and just living off of people. Come here, live with us. We'll let you get on your feet. And you don't have to go find a job immediately. Just get on your feet and everything will be good. Well, I still had a job at that point, but that didn't last long after missing approximately 5 days of work. So, I move in with them, and it was the best decision of my life. It's where I live now. I owe them everything, because without them, without family, I probably would be dead right about now. And shortly thereafter, I released Pages of Harmony Part 1. And that's when my YouTube channel started. Because I needed a way to cope, to get my voice out from these 4 walls. Just, somebody's gotta hear me. I need somebody to hear me. And I stuck around. Worked out in the garden for a year, got tough. Went to school, got my certifications and in computer service tech, and proceeded to get a job at a computer repair facility, which is where I am now. I'm doing much better, stable, happy, for the most part. As happy as anybody can be, really. Work has the days where it sucks, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there is an after. You gotta take it off the table, though. Like, you gotta take suicide off the table. You can't live your life with suicide as an option. You can't. I did that for years, and it cripples you. It cripples your decision-making. Because you stop coming up with solutions. You're like, oh, well, I have an out, so I don't really have to try at any of these solutions or anything like that, because I have an out. You can't do that. You won't get better. You won't succeed in life if you have that feeling inside you of, well, I could just take myself out and nothing will matter. It doesn't, you don't come up with the right solutions at that point. So, if I could suggest anything to anybody of the whole nobody who's going to actually watch this, take suicide off the table, man. Woman, girl, boy, thing, whatever you are. Just, even if you're depressed, even if things suck, you can leave. You can just walk out of your house, just walk down the street and, you know, start banging on the back of a gallon jug until somebody throws you some quarters so you can buy some food. Like, there's options. Suicide is never the answer, because that's ending the book, and nothing comes after that, and you can't get better, you can't help people, you can't do good in this world if you're dead. And there's still good in this world for you to do yet. Alright? Anybody out there who's feeling down and depressed, there is still good in this world for you to do yet. And I guess that's really the point that I'm trying to get at here is... life is hard. Life is real hard. I've been to some dark places myself. I can relate. But just gotta keep trying, gotta work, gotta get hard, man. Gotta get swole, and you gotta just go at it ham. Because if you're already willing to die, fuck it. Do it. Just do anything. Because you're already accepted in your head that suicide, you know, why not try bodybuilding before suicide? Why not try free running before suicide? Why not try hang gliding? Like, anything. Anything. But if you find yourself in that place, that down, that dark, just find somebody. Hit me up in a comment. I check my comments daily because I get none. Like, anybody, just find someone to talk to get that weight off you. And then once you do get that weight off of you, freaking do something else. Change stuff. Like, be a different person. Come up with a new persona. I mean, look at the Gibby. Anywho, I don't know how to end this, really. So, guess I'm just gonna end it. This ends Gibby's first video blog.